if in fact you could protect them. That's something that I think almost all infectious disease people with any knowledge about infectious disease would not say that's a good idea.
Dr. Fauci, we are firmly in the holiday season, and a lot of Americans are wondering whether it's safe, even if they've been vaccinated, to go to a cocktail party without a mask, with a glass of eggnog in their hand. What's your advice to them?
Well, the advice is what I follow myself and what I tell people to do, is that get vaccinated. I'm going to get to your question. I'm not eluding it. Get vaccinated, number one. If you're eligible for a boost, get boosted. And in a situation with the holiday season, indoor type settings with family that you know is vaccinated, people that you know, you could feel safe with not wearing a mask and having a dinner, having a reception. But when you are in a public congregate setting in which you do not know the status of the vaccination of the people involved, it is very prudent to wear a mask, and that's what I do.
Despite the eggnog.
Thank you.
Well, obviously, I mean, unless you have a special kind of mask that I don't know about, the fact is, sure, when you're eating and when you're drinking, take the mask down, but to the extent possible, keep it on when you're in an indoor congregate setting.
Dr. Fauci, as you advised the president about the possibility of new testing requirements for people coming into this country, does that include everybody?
The answer is yes, because you know that the new regulation, if you want to call it that, is that anybody and everybody who's coming into the country needs to get a test within 24 hours of getting on the plane to come here.
Well, what about people who don't take a plane and just these border crossers coming in huge numbers?
But that's a different issue. For example, when you talk, we still have Title 42 with regard to protection at the border. So there are protections at the border that you don't have the capability, as you know, of somebody getting on a plane, getting checked, looking at a passport. We don't have that there, but we can get some degree of mitigation.
Is there something to do to test these people somewhere else?
There is testing at the border under certain circumstances, as you know.
Doctor, two questions. First, for folks in California, I know this is only one case, but what's your message to them should they be particularly concerned? And secondly, with your emphasis on boosters, why not make a determination that it's in the interest of public health for the definition of fully vaccinated to include that additional dose?
Okay, so for the people in California, we've been in contact with the public health officials in California. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to say, but I'm pretty sure they're going to say just do all of the mitigation, all of the things that we have been talking about up to now. For those who've not been doing that, start doing that. For those who have been, continue doing that.
And then in terms of making a determination that vaccinated.
Again, there's the official determination of what something is for a variety of reasons. For example, employment and getting vaccinated. What is the definition? That will stay that way. For optimal protection, I'm talking about what your personal effort to be optimally protected. That's why I say we should all get boosters.
In terms of the mandate, like you have a vaccine mandate,
Right.
At what point does the booster become part of the mandate?
Yeah, I can't answer that right now, but I know that for the time being, the official definition of fully vaccinated is 2.
But do you see that changing? We keep having these variants. We're concerned about them.
It could change. It could
change.
change. It could change, yes.
Recommended change?
Well, I don't know. Let's see what rolls out now. I mean, I know if I say it's going to change, it's going to get spread out. That's it. We don't know right now whether it should change, but it might.
Quarantine for international visitors. Do you think international visitors, when they arrive, they should quarantine for 7 days, regardless of vaccination status?
Well, there are certain requirements for people who are. You're talking about foreign visitors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Going forward.
Obviously, if they are, they have to get tested within 24 hours. And when they come back, if they're not vaccinated, they have to be in quarantine. They're recommended for quarantine and recommended to get a test within 3 days.
If they are vaccinated,
Yes.
I'm sorry. If they are vaccinated, should they quarantine?
Well, again, we're going to get confused here. You're talking about United States citizens, or you're talking about anybody that comes into the country from anywhere. I'm not sure what that's going to be. I think we'll have to just check with the CDC.
Karen.
Yeah.
Jen, Dr. Fauci, there are reports that in a new book, former President Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, says that the then president, tested positive for COVID 3 days before the debate with President Biden. Were you aware of that positive test at the time? And do you think, given what Meadows says, that he put then candidate Biden at risk at that debate?
Well, I certainly was not aware of his test positivity or negativity.
You think he put President Biden?
I'm not going to specifically talk about who put who at risk, but I would say, as I've said, not only for an individual, but for everybody, that if you test positive, you should be quarantining yourself.
Dr. Fauci, just to follow on that quickly, if I may. President Trump's doctor, who you worked with at the time, Dr. Sean Conley, was aware of that, according to Mark Meadows, who you also worked with during that time. And yet, former President Trump continued to go out in public events. Based on your medical advice, is that something that you would have recommended if he had tested positive?
Well, I would recommend to anyone, whether it's the president or any of my patients or any of the people that I deal with, that if you test positive, you should be prudent and quarantine yourself.
Christian.
Dr. Fauci,
Christian.
Dr. Fauci, with all due respect, there's zero case of COVID, of Omicron case in Zimbabwe, in Namibia, in Lesotho, in Mozambique. What justify imposing a travel ban on countries that have zero case of the Omicron variant?
You know, that's a very good question, an important question, and we did struggle with that, but we wanted to see if we could bide time temporarily. So I do hope that this gets sorted out and lifted before it has any significant impact on your country.
Right now, from countries that have zero case.
Thank you, Dr. Fauci. Last week, the governor of New York signed an executive order to postpone elective hospital surgeries to prepare for the Omicron variant. I know that you and your team are being proactive as we try to learn more about this, but do you believe that some states might be going too far too quickly before we know too much?
You know, I really don't want to comment on the situation in individual states because there are so many factors from state to state that are different. I don't think it would be appropriate for me to comment whether a state should or should not postpone elective surgeries.
And then the president said that we will defeat this variant of the coronavirus, not with lockdowns or shutdowns, but based off of, the tools that we have now. Is there anything that we are, taking into this new variant experience based off of some of the adverse effects of some of those lockdowns? I mean, we just passed, I think, 100,000 overdose deaths for the first time ever.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we always discuss things that we might do to better our preparation, better our response. That's something we discuss every single day. But right now, what I've always said, and I'll continue to say, let's utilize and implement the tools that we have, because if we had done that, if we had the overwhelming majority of people in this country vaccinated and those who needed to be boosted, our vulnerability would be much less than it is right now.
Ryan, last one, then we gotta let it go.
What do you see in the 1917, 1918 flu pandemic? It eventually evolved till it was less lethal. But there are those who are saying that we're never going to get that far with this virus because we need more people vaccinated. What do you see as the end game?
I mean, the end game, which we hope and I think will occur, is that as we get more people vaccinated, not only in this country, but globally, we will see a situation where viruses will not have the opportunity. What they have right now is to essentially freely distribute and freely circulate in society, both domestic society and global society. The more protection you get with vaccines, the less likelihood a virus has to do that, the less likelihood a virus has to mutate, the less likely you're going to get a variant. So one of the things that we need to do about our long end game is to do the things we've been saying every single day, not only for ourselves, but internationally. And we have done a lot and will continue to do a lot to get lower middle income countries vaccinated. Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt that this will end. I promise you that. This will end.